I totally agree with you. And I think that part of what's hard about what makes it hard for us to talk about it is because we can be so black and white, that it can feel like, well, there's this ideal marriage and this ideal family. And if we can't get to that point, then it's just all a failure. And so if we don't have that idealized state, then it's a failure, but we don't want it to be a failure. So let's say that that idealized state doesn't matter and everybody should just try their best. And we just won't worry about that idealized state because we don't want to then not try. So to keep people from not trying, we won't have the goal to which they could achieve. And so this is a little bit of a tangent, but hopefully it tracks. One of the things, so when I was a young mom, it was really, really hard. I didn't have the family supports that I needed. I had a lot of postpartum depression and it was really hard. It was an unexpected pregnancy. I wanted to wait 8 years. I wanted to finish all my school. I had plans. They all got wiped out. And it was just hard. And then the babies kept coming and it kept getting harder. And I had a lot of anxiety and shame about my ability as a mom. Because it was just so challenging. And it was like, you can imagine this idealized state. Like, this is the way it should be when you're a mom. You should spend all this one-on-one time, and how many books should you read, and how much playtime should they have with other kids, and what is the nutritional quality of the food that they're getting, and how consistent is their schedule. And there's all these like with the list of expectations as a mom. But one of the things I found so comforting was I was working on an assignment and I was doing some research. I can't remember what the book was, but there's this study on motherhood and the good enough mom. And there's all this research that you basically had two categories of kids. You had kids where their moms were good enough and the kids where their moms weren't good enough. And the moms who weren't good enough moms were the ones who didn't spend time with their kids and they didn't read to their kids and they didn't really care about the nutritional quality of their kids' food and all of that stuff. But there was a threshold where you were a good enough mom. And after that threshold, it didn't matter how much attention and time extra you paid, it was still going to be good enough. So it was kind of like you had to get like 60% of the way there.
Sort of like on the grading scale, D for done.
D for done. Yeah. You had to get to good enough.
You passed.
But anywhere between good enough and amazing, there was no outcome difference for kids. And I found so much comfort because I was like,
or little. There was a difference, but not. It wasn't devastating.
It was a minimal difference. Yeah. But I found it so comforting because I was like, I can't be convinced at this point that I'm a good mom. But I think I'm a good enough mom. I think I'm a good enough mom. Well, thank you, honey. But at the time, it was hard for me to maybe see things that way. But I could say it's good enough. And I think it's something similar with this, where it's like, you don't have to shoot for the perfect marriage. There's the good enough marriage. There's the good enough attachment. And if we can, instead of having it be black and white, where it's like, well, either I can make sure that, we have this perfect ideal and anything less than that, it's just a waste. Why bother? Don't get married. Don't have kids. It's like, yeah, that's maybe the ideal. You're shooting a little high. But if you can shoot for, if it's good enough, it'll be better. And you will be able to achieve these goals. You will get more attached. You will be more secure. You will be able to, fill in the blank, even if it's not that ideal state. I think sometimes bringing the goal down allows you to still have a goal.